Dude, I know you fuck gets a kick out of these when we're just sitting here. I know
Yeah.
you do. Ping me when you watch this back and be like, yeah, I got a kick out of that. I got a daggum kick out of it. Also, I will say daggum at least 2 times. That's a guarantee during the recording, and you better not cut it out. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today, me and Repeat are going to be doing a draft breakdown of our WPF Duels team. Basically, how it works is it's teams of 2, and here, I'll just go to the rules and info here. Basically, it's like kind of ghosting, but like the format. So like it's teams of 2 against teams of 2 playing singles, but they're like playing one game and they can like work together and like talk and chat. So we figured, hey, let's give it a try, because when else are we gonna be able to like do this and record it? Because we do it all the time, but we can't record it because then it would be like people would know we're cheating. You know what I'm saying? So
How this started was Reising was in the WPF server and he hit me up and he was like, yo, I can't win without you.
that's actually what happened. But anyway, going into the draft, we knew one Pokemon we wanted kind of towards the middle of the draft, but for the start, we weren't really sure. Then by the time our pick came around, we were really stuck between Great Tusk and Tornadus T. So we went back and forth, and we ended up deciding on Great Tusk. How about you just talk about Great Tusk?
Obviously, as I just mentioned, the King of Oya, just really consistent rapid spinner. He has a ton of coverage moves, just really tanky fist stiff mon, lots of damage output potential, great typing offensively and defensively. He's got a lot of good moves like Earthquake in close combat, gets access to Fire Fang, Ice Spinner, Play Rough, Mega Horn, Knockoff is great for removing items. Rapid Spin for removing, what do you call those, hazards?
Yeah, those are what they're called. Dude, it also gets Psy Shot. Isn't that crazy? Anyway, Great Tusk. He's a cool guy. He gets rocks too, so item-wise, there's like, you can run like choices on him, you can run AV, I can see helmet working, maybe lefties, you can run booster, obviously.
Booster is definitely a wild card because it really boosts like 3 of its most potent stats, one being speed. If you actually run like max speed and no attack or defense investment, with nature, jolly or timid, you actually get a speed boost over the defense or attack boost, and that can make for Great Tusk being like a really good late game sweeper that can change moves instead of being like voice locked in by Scarf. You can bulk up win games really easily by that. Yeah, just really consistent mon and just really great first round pick. We're definitely fortunate to get it at 6th pick.
So then after this, right, so we had another probably 12 picks before it was us again, and we knew what our next pick was going to be. We knew what round 3 was going to be kind of before the draft even started. We had our eyes on this guy, but we managed to pick up, moving back around, as we said earlier, we're stuck between Great Tusk, Torn, Great Tusk, Torn, Great Tusk, and Torn. But we actually got both because Torn T was still available when it came back to us. And it is worth noting, this is an 8-mon draft, so we did blow quite a bit of budget on these first 2. I believe Great Tusk was 18, Torn was 17?
Yeah, and it was a 70 or no, 80 point draft, right?
90 point draft, 8 mons.
90 point draft. Yeah, okay. It's almost 40 points for your first 2 picks, but it was definitely worth it.
Yeah, just 2 phenomenal mons.
Yeah.
Because it's really hard to get good offensive mons, I feel like, in this. You can get a lot of good supporting mons with the low tiers. Your offensive, your high pointers. If you just get like good mons to build around, and then you can just get supporters with the low tiers, and it just works well, you know?
Definitely. So yeah, great second pick. I think you can talk about Tornadus here.
Yeah, it's not Gen 8 Torn, but it's better than pre-DLC, because now it gets knockoff back. It doesn't get toxic, but it does get knockoff, right? You get Leaf Wind Storm now, which is kind of worse Hurricane in a way, but it's kind of there, right?
It's more accurate.
Yeah, it's more accurate, but it's just Torn. Y'all know what Torn does. And we haven't talked about this, but U-turn is huge, just being able to get in and out.
It pairs very well with its regenerator ability.
Yes, if you play VGC, you know the regenerator ability. So yeah, we have a great start here. So then we decided to kind of dip down in points wise, right? And just kind of really help the team out. But we had to pick this mod that we had our heart set from before. It was Askew Legion with Flip Turn at only 12 points, which I thought was super low, to be honest.
Yes, definitely. And with us drafting Basque Legion, we actually get both its male and female form, which gives us an immense amount of flexibility in the team prepping part.
And to make it even more flexible, this is our Terra Captain, which basically how Terra Captain would work for this. It doesn't add any points. There's some mons that are Terra banned, like Torn was Terra banned, but it's open Terra, so you can Terra into any type. But in Team Preview, you can see your opponent's Terra type. Right, and obviously Last Respects is banned, and it unfortunately does not get Poltergeist like Repeat told me it did.
Listen, don't blame me on that. You can still run a good amount of moves in its female form with 100 base special attack in its female form, can throw off big, huge adaptability boosted shadow balls, which is definitely not going to do as much as like a Lapis Specs or the anticipated Poltergeist would. But I mean, even just being able to throw off big water type attacks and pivot out is like huge in its male form, like Wave Crash and Flip Turn are just like great moves to spam if your opponent, even if they have the resist with adaptability and its typing and its bulk, it's just a really annoying mon, I think, to really handle.
Yes, and also we haven't mentioned Terrago's Terra Blast is also a very good option for Basque. That adaptability, that Terra Ghost Terra Blast, it's just stacking like all those damage multipliers. Then also we can just Terra into, like we're facing a Scissor, Terra Fire, Terra Blast, just blow it off the planet. You know what I'm saying? Basque Legion female, we can Terra into like, I don't know, Electric, Terra Blast, get a flying type off the map. It's just, we just have a lot of options here.
Yeah, we can just turn the tables. There aren't many answers for Basque Legion, and being able to terrestrialize it and beat down the only mon that would beat us usually, and then be able to switch out or conserve it and bring it back later is just really nice.
Yeah. Then our next pick,
I think I want to introduce this.
You want to introduce it?
Yeah, I mean, it was my...
Yeah, it was your guy. By going into this, we each decided that we would get one mon. We would get to pick and be like, you can't say anything about it. I get to pick it, you know? And this was his guy.
This was my guy. Going into the draft, I was super excited about this new mon in the DLC. Besendipity, Bird Up. Yeah, I just really like the look of this guy. Toxic Chain is a really cool ability. And I think it just really annoying for a lot of teams to handle.
100%. And it was only 8 points, which, I mean, for a new toy, is just great anyway.
I think it's just, like, really undervalued in its potential. I think there's a lot of things that this thing can do.
Yeah, 100%.
If you pull up its stats, you can see its immense special defense. This really pairs well with a Great Tusk, who's not the bulkiest on the special end, but having the good defensive core of Besendipity, Great Tusk, and Tornadus is going to be very helpful in the weeks. Just Besendipity being able to come out, spread status, and then just be able to like U-turn out or come in on special attackers, Roost, Poison. You can even set up with this thing. It gets access to Calm Mind and Nasty Plot.
I didn't even realize it got U-turn. U-turn with a 30% chance of poison is kind of nuts.
It also just gets beat up. Like, you can just send this thing at the start of a game and just spam beat up if your opponent doesn't have a poison type. You're just able to, like, start spamming Toxic and it just, like, becomes really out of hand.
It's just Toxic spikes, but it does damage.
Exactly. And being able to Toxic instead of regular poison is huge while you're doing damage or doing something that's giving you momentum, like clicking U-turn. I think this is just really interesting, and I'm definitely excited to use this thing in the upcoming weeks.
This was his like pick, but I was like, I supported it.
Poison Fury is such a, I'd say, rare typing, but it's also very strong. Right? I mean, you're only weak to Steel, Ground, and Psychic. And those are types that are Steel, Ground, Psychic. Yeah, like 2 of those are weak to Great Tusk, right? So I think the synergy there is definitely noticeable and hard to handle.
And also, it is worth mentioning that we did get our grounded poison type, so we don't insta-lose to T-Spikes. So always love to have that. Do you want to go over this next one too?
Sure. I mean, we were really debating. Like, we know we wanted a Steel type, right? We were looking at our current draft and we were like, we have like no switch-ins for... I mean, Steel is just like arguably like the best type in the game, right? So we knew we wanted one. So we were debating over Heatran or Jirachi, but in the end, we ended up going with Jirachi.
This mon, it was 13 points, got 100 across the board. What set this apart for me between Heatran and Jirachi was Jirachi's ability to Wish and Baton Pass. Like Basque Legion, Great Tusk, just having a way to keep them alive with Wish, I thought was just super, super nice. It's just also, its move pool is so deep. Like when you see a Heatran, you kind of know what it's going to be, you know? My setup hazard's going to rip some Magma Storms, going to burn you, you know, it's just stuff like that. But this thing has such a deep move pool. It could really do anything.
It can do a lot of things. It can work as like a lead, Stealth Rocks mon. It can like taunt, it gets Encore, right? Yeah. But it can also be like a setup sweeper. It can be a Crit Me Not sweeper. Crit Me Not sweepers are like things that like to stack like Calm Minds or Cosmic Powers and then go from there. Just pray that they don't get crit. It's just very threatening. It gets dual screens and U-turn for momentum. Yeah, I think this thing is just like very infuriating to play against or prep versus because it's really hard to anticipate like what exact set your opponent's going to bring.
Our first 2 picks were pretty like one-dimensional, like Great Tusk, Torn, not a whole lot. But then we got Basque Legion, Fezidipity, and Jirachi. There's a whole lot of different stuff between those 3 that you can do.
Definitely.
It just kind of complements the simplicity of the first 2, then now we've got some real depth towards the back end here. And then going into the next pick, I was really looking at a fire type because we didn't end up getting Heat Ran, right? So we wanted a fire type. Looking at the draft board, there was a hidden gem. Not even a hidden gem. It was just like, it was wide open. For 7 points, we got Rotom Heat. And yes, I know it doesn't get defog apparently, but it's still a Rotom Heat, and it's hard getting like a real fire type for 7 points.
There aren't that many good fire types. I mean, it was either really this or Slugma, and I don't think any of it, or Smarcargo. I don't think anybody would ever choose Macargo.
But I mean, discharge if you want to get paras. It's got overheat. It can blast. It's got got Thunderbolt. It's got Volt Switch. Obviously, Will-O-Wisp. Also, this thing gets Poltergeist and Basque Legion doesn't. I'm so sad.
I mean, to be fair, it is a ghost living inside a phone.
Yeah, but like this is a fish, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people in this draft, they really went for the top heavy. Like I saw someone be like, dude, I got 2 19-pointers and then a 16-pointer. And I'm like, dude, your last 2 mons are gonna be Love Disc and like Stunky, you know? But like we have like a whole team here.
Going into our next pick.
I got this one. This is my hero. We picked up Jeremy. This was my guy. He's just my hero, honestly. I don't know where I would be today without Jeremy.
For those who don't know, Jeremy actually does Rising taxes, and he also saved his mom and dad from a burning house. So
and he's my pet. Like he's my dog, so.
Oh wow, I never knew that. You learn something new every day.
So yeah, Jeremy, he just does with what some things impossible. He goes where some are just too scared to go, and he does it. He just makes it happen. Like when I need something done, I go to Jeremy.
When you go to Jeremy, I mean, you see this very, very wide move pool.
It's so deep. It's almost as deep as Jeremy's heart. It's just so vast, and he's just such a loving man. Like he can do literally anything. You name it, and Jeremy can do it. He can set up with so many different moves. It's got got Coil, it's got Curse, it's got Agility, it's got Calm Mind. Just spams Glares, which you love to see. It's got Stealth Rock. It just has so much it can do, and it just does it well. And it's a fairly bulky bond. It's got high HP.
It also gets access to Skill Shot in the DLC, so I think that's something we could try out.
100%. He was also 10 points, which is actually fair. A lot of drafts actually undervalue this guy.
Speed's like a little bit to be left desired, but its move pool makes up for that. It gets access to Rising mentioned Glare, so you can paralyze everything and then basically outspeed everything. Like 55 isn't bad. Like it's good enough to where like if you paralyze everything on your opponent's end, you just outspeed them. And like its offensive stats are, I would say, good for its move pool, just because any move it's going to be throwing off is going to be doing meaningful damage, right? With 100 attack and 85 special attack.
Boom Burst alone can just blow through teams. Like it specs Boom Burst, and it's just by the time you know what this thing is going to do, it's too late. It's already done it. The game's already over. You're watching the replay. You know what I'm saying? So then finally, Repeat honestly told me he didn't really care what the last pick was. We had 5 points left, and he was like, "Go nuts, man." And I wanted the freaking Apple guy, but he was like, "Eh." I was like, "Okay, I guess you do care, huh?"
Yeah, we were considering Diplin and Hisuian Electrode, I believe it was, but
you were considering Hisuian Electrode. I was not.
Hisuian Electrode's a very good pick. Very fast.
It was also taken, which is worth saying.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, that's because other people realized it was good.
No, I would never have taken it. I would have quit the server before we picked Hisuian Electrode. Anyway, we're going off a tangent. I looked at our team and I realized we don't have a Scald switch in. We actually don't have a single one that wants to switch it to Scalds. And, like, I mean, I guess we have Pheasantipity, but, like...
Pheasantipity wants to keep its HP most of the time, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. So. And Basque is our only water resist, but it doesn't want to switch into Scalds, right? So, our pick loves switching into Scalds, to say the least. This is Tatsugiri. It's quad resisted if we're not, but we're always going to run Storm Drain, right? So, it switches in, it gets a special attack boost, and then it just drops a Draco on. I don't think there's very many Pokemon that want to take a +1 Draco from 120 special attacks tab, you know?
Yeah, I mean, this thing is like, I'm surprised that it was only 5 points, because like, yes, its HP and defenses are like very bad, but 120 special attack on a dragon type with 82 speed is very, very good.
And Nasty Plot. And Rapid Spin. Nasty Plot, Rapid Spin, and then you just start dropping Dracos. What are you going to do?
I mean, its move pool isn't that deep, but it does what it needs to.
Also gets Giga Impact, which is huge. And Hyper Beam, which is just better, objectively.
This is a very good low-tier pick.
It was really our only low-tier pick. Our team is super well-rounded here. Honestly, I'm really excited to use it. This is a 5-week season. These videos are going to be going up to get y'all some juicy content.
I just say juicy like that. Like, your voice went down for some reason.
Me?
Yeah.
Anyway, if you're hyped for this juicy content...
Stop.
I didn't even do anything. I didn't know what you were talking about.
Just avoid it. Anyway, go on with what you're saying.
Anyway, back to the juicy content that we're talking about. If you're hyped like we are, just, stay tuned for what we have. We're going to win. So this is Winner's POV. Y'all have a phenomenal day. Good night.